All right, let's talk about the Tenant Indictment. And the reason this is a story again is Lauren Chen made her return to social media. She made a Twitter post. And so I think it's first important to go over the backstory of the Tenant Indictment. So in my opinion, the Tenant Indictment was a continuation of the Mueller indictment of the Russians. They're very similar. They use a lot of the same tactics. So if you recall, many years ago, Mueller indicted Russians and claimed that they were interfering in the 2016 election. Now, in this indictment, they claimed that when a Russian gives a political opinion, and of course they had absolutely no confirmation that these Russians were actually real or that they actually worked for the government. Okay, it's very similar to the Tenant Indictment. And so what happened is in this indictment, they claimed that if a Russian gives a political opinion about an American election, it's election interference. They claimed that, for example, if a Russian makes a Google email account and puts USA in it, that somehow that's nefarious or a crime or whatever. And so this indictment, what was hilarious about it is at one point, because they knew the Russian government would not extradite these Russians that were indicted because they were in Russia. So they know they banked on never having to provide discovery. Now, to Robert Mueller's dismay, some lawyers showed up representing some of the Russians, and they said, okay, we're prepared to go to trial, let's do discovery. And lo and behold, the case falls apart. And so what was the point of that indictment? The point of that indictment, and I called this early, and I'm sure other people did too, which was they were trying to set the precedent that if a person gives an opinion that the Democrats don't like on the internet about an election, then that's election interference. And so they start out doing it to the Russians, which they would later do to American citizens, which that is what happened. Whether it's the Ukraine war or whatever it is, anything that you say that they don't like, they say is Russian propaganda, and therefore you're working on behalf of the Russian government. Now, fast forward many years later, you have the Tenant Indictment, which is very similar. They claimed that these people that they knew would not be extradited claimed that they were working for the Russian government, and claiming that they were paying a long list of content creators, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Matt Christensen. There was a pretty long list. And the quote-unquote ringleader of this whole thing was Lauren Chen. And so much like the Mueller indictment of the Russians, that indictment fell apart. So apparently it's been dropped, and Lauren Chen made her first remarks in, I think, at least a year publicly. And so talking about what they did to her, they stole all their money, they deplatformed them off of every social media platform. And at the end of the day, the case was dropped. Now, I don't know if social media companies are going to restore their accounts. Apparently, so far, they have not returned their money. They took everything, life savings, all their assets, whatever. This is what they do. Now, make no mistake, if Kamala Harris would have won the election, everyone on that list from the Tenant Indictment would have been arrested and prosecuted. And then after they were done that, they were going to come after any commentator that said anything on the internet that they didn't like. Fortunately, Kamala Harris did not win, and Trump is in office, and things in that regard are better. Now, I hope the Trump administration, which they've done a very good job of righting a lot of the wrongs from the Biden administration when it comes to political persecution, Trump has released the vast majority of the political prisoners that Biden locked up. People locked up for not even going into the Capitol or going into the Capitol and waving flags, people locked up for singing in front of an abortion clinic. It's completely insane. And of course, the Democrats and all their propagandists went along with every one of those jailings of innocent people. So Trump has released the vast majority of them. Of course, you have the Tina Peters case. She's still in jail. That is much more complicated because it's state charges, not federal, so Trump can't pardon her. Hopefully they release her from jail soon. I have no idea what the percentage chance of that happening is. But the vast majority of the people that were persecuted, thousands of people, this was thousands of people that were persecuted politically by the Biden administration, the vast majority of them have been released from prison. It's absolutely, in my opinion, one of the best things that Trump has done so far. So hopefully they can right this wrong. And when I do this analysis, I was never a Lauren Chen person. I didn't dislike her, but I didn't really watch a lot of her content. And that's not relevant, whether you like her or not. What they did to her was disgusting. The people that have done this, I mean, there's a long list of people. I think any of the prosecutors involved in lawfare should be put in jail. Hopefully they get to that at some point. You know, I'll believe it when I see it, but that's what should happen at least. And so, yeah, they obviously should return all their assets, and they should restore her social media accounts. And, you know, it's wild to see some commentators still going along with the propaganda narrative and still going along with these obviously bullshit indictments to persecute people over legal speech. If you're a commentator and you go along with that, you're fucking retarded. This is not a virtue signal. This is simple self-preservation. Something that even some animals understand self-preservation, but some human beings, they don't understand self-preservation. And so they're still going along with this narrative that she was paid by Russia and all this fucking bullshit. None of it was substantiated. The case completely fell apart like the Mueller indictment of the Russians did. And so it's good to see that she's back. Hopefully she is able to continue her career. And again, hopefully the Department of Justice will do the right thing and give them their assets back. I do think it's possible that they will do that. I do think that's possible. Like I said, I've been pleasantly surprised at how thorough the Trump administration has been. Not perfect, but more thorough than I expected when it comes to righting a lot of these wrongs. You know, going into this second administration, I had thought, you know, what's like a realistic expectation for releasing the political prisoners? Considering it's Washington, D.C., and it's politics, and it's Washington, D.C. and politics is total AIDS. I thought that if they release half of the political prisoners, that's probably as good as it's going to get. That was my expectation going in. I was pleasantly surprised to see that Trump released the vast majority of the political prisoners. And so that's great. There's also these black nationalists that I think are right now in jail. Now, these guys were lefties. They're these black nationalists. I forget their name. But they had the wrong opinion about the Ukraine war, and they put those guys in jail. And it's funny because none of the... or very few of the leftist commentators defended their own people when the government was putting them in jail for having the wrong opinion about the Ukraine war, which is hilarious. So it's not surprising they're very hypocritical. So anyway, hopefully they can get those guys out of jail. And again, I don't like lefties at all, but this is simple self-preservation, because if they're able to successfully do this to people, they're going to come after the next group and the next group and the next group. And so that's why the precedent cannot be allowed to be set to come up with all these bullshit reasons of why it's okay to jail political commentators over speech. It's completely unacceptable. Fuck anybody that goes along with it. And so hopefully Lauren Chen is made whole, and anyone else that's been persecuted by the Biden administration. All right. We'll be doing the live stream tonight on Rumble. That is rumble.com/user/hardnewsnetwork, and I'll see you there.